Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Morning Intentions and Insights. So if you're around, join me, say hello, and let me know where you are. And I always am curious, if you watch on the replay, let me know your insights, your takeaways, and any questions you might have. So today's topic is trust and truth, how these are intricately linked and how they impact business and life. So to begin, often there's a lot of fear around, being completely, vulnerable. And we have, sometimes this pressure to hold up a facade around how things are in your life and business. When people ask, it's just the normal, everything's fine, everything's great. When on the inside, that may not be the case. And there's fear around showing what's really happening because there's this distrust, this distrust of the other person, and even, I would say, distrust of yourself. Because this idea, of course, that if you say what's the truth, what's really going on in your business, what's really going on in your life, then they may look at you differently. They may judge you, because what's happening is you are already judging yourself about what's going on in your business and life, whatever challenges you're currently facing. And so the need or the pressure we feel to keep that in and keep it in a pretty package is because we are judging that challenge and that issue. And so we don't want to share it with others because we fear they will judge us. And that's where the distrust is not trusting that the other person can make up their own mind about what they think about you, and also trusting yourself in that whatever they think about you is not as important as what you think about you. So placing your sense of self, your sense of worth and value in someone else's opinion is a recipe, of course, for disaster. And so what would be possible to live in a place where you trusted yourself and you were living in integrity? So you were willing to be in truth. And what that means, why this is uncomfortable a lot of times is not only is there fear around judgment, sometimes there's also this fear around what will be revealed, because often when we're avoiding the truth, there's this fear around how that will impact us. For example, what's going on within the world, within the US, some people don't want to explore and really do research and look at all sides and see, what is the truth about, preventative treatments for the disease that's spreading. What is the origins of that? What are the agendas of the different politicians and medical institutions and organizations? What is the, research about, not only pre-treatment, but then also treatment, once, preventative, and then also treatment once you get it, early treatment. And what's going on with people suppressing that information. So because, and the reason this can be really uncomfortable is there, might be this idea that, the government is benevolent, which is not true. And they have your best interest in mind, which is not true. But if that's a worldview that you hold, that of course, it's a government for the people, of the people, and of course they have our best interest in mind. If that's a worldview you hold, then it's going to be really uncomfortable to start to see that's not true. And then once you open up to that not being true and really explore what is the truth, what is their true agenda, that can be really disruptive, can be really unsettling. And there can be some fear around what that means and how you will respond and how that will impact your life. Like, it's like this idea, when you realize something that you've believed for a long, long time isn't true, it can be a little bit like it shatters your world, right? The thing is, though, that's okay. I think there's this fear within ourselves of, if I find out, the government has some negative, bad intentions, well, then how am I going to live? Like I've always, maybe you've always believed that was the truth. Well, the truth is you will figure out how to live. And so this fear around it'll shatter your worldview and it'll be so disruptive you won't know what to do is not true. It will shatter your worldview and you will figure out a new way of living, because what's going to happen with the truth is that it shatters the illusion. And so you're no longer living under this false pretense of what the world is. And when you do that, even though it's disruptive and it's unsettling and you have to come to terms with that on your own, it is incredibly freeing, because what it does, it puts you into the truth. It puts you into the present moment of not living on some misguided belief, not living on some illusion, but what is actually true. And in that moment, you also see relying on yourself, relying on others, relying on humans is not enough, especially when you see just how corrupted many people are and can be. That's when, the truth is that we do need to rely more and more and more on God. And that can be really unsettling, because especially in the US, we're built on, independence and self-reliance. And, we are like, I don't know if we're the biggest nation, but the biggest nation when it comes to like self-help. Like it's all like, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, you got this. And the idea that you can't do it on your own, that you do need God, can also be really unsettling, because of course we need to take personal responsibility for our lives. And within that, we need to realize that's not enough. We can do all the right things, work our butts off, do everything that we think is necessary in order to be successful and a good person. And we will always come short. And so as understanding how to do that with God instead of on your own, and thinking you can just work harder, do more, sleep less, whatever it might be. So that's, again, that can be really unsettling to think you can't do it on your own. And not in a victim mentality way of can't do it on your own, in an empowering way that realizing you do need God, you do need support. And it's a co-creative process, that you are here for a specific reason, your gifts are being used for a specific purpose. And when you come into relationship with God, that's when it can come through you much more powerfully. And that's also a huge piece of trust, because when you are raised on this belief of being self-reliant and independent, the idea that you can't do it on your own and you do need God, that relationship between you and God is built on trust. And there's a lot of distrust in the religious and spiritual communities, because a lot of times we've been betrayed, could be by people in the religious communities or spiritual communities, or just by family. And so our idea of what God is can be distorted, because we have an idea of what God is based on our human relationships. And so there's this distrust that, perhaps we will be betrayed again, or we can't trust again, or it's not safe to trust. And that keeps us separated from God and from our truest, deepest, highest potential. And so that's when, again, it's like entering into the truth, going to the word and really deepening your relationship with God, and asking for more trust. So how this impacts everything, of course, it puts you into a place where you step into a different path, right? It's the idea, of that path that's been there, but you haven't been able to see because you're operating out of having to do it on your own, maybe not wanting to see what the truth is, and kind of living we all have a tendency to live around the confirmation bias, only seeing what you want to see. And so being able to step into this place of trust, to see what you maybe haven't wanted to see about yourself, about your business, about life, about the world, whatever it might be, about God, and come to terms with that, and know that as unsettling and disruptive and perhaps shattering of a worldview it might be for you, that when you open up to what's possible in stepping into the truth and trusting you are supported, trusting God has your back, trusting as you see the truth, you will have more freedom and more power to really step into the work that you're here to do. So today's intention is to spend some time and see, what are some truths that you've been avoiding about yourself, about your business, about your family, about your relationships, about the world, about what's happening in the world. And then ask yourself, what is the fear around really seeing the truth? What do you think will happen once you see the truth? What's the worst that could happen? And then what will happen? So just go down and see what, the layers of fear that is bound up in this. And then ask yourself, what would happen if you were open to seeing this truth and trusting you would be okay? Trusting that opening up to the truth would open up a different and better and more powerful way for you to be in your business, in your relationships, and in the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you are looking for support and really want to, dig deeper into what's been holding you back in your business and dig into, maybe there are a little bit of, challenges around trust and truth, and thinking you need to show up a certain way and have a certain, image. And you really want to just be able to, do the work that you're here to do in a way that is a true reflection of your unique gifts and traits, and do it in a way that is aligned for how you best work. I will put a link below and we can have a quick, 20-minute call to see what it looks like to really evolve your business, both strategically and spiritually. All right. Can't wait to hear your comments, and I'll talk to you soon.